Oh, it's Homecoming. That was a series. Yo, welcome to another episode of Homecoming. This is where people that I love come back home and talk about some of the early beginnings. This one I talked to my older brother. Last time we had a conversation like this was way back in LA in like 2015 or something. I don't know. It was amazing, but I think you're gonna love this conversation. It gets real. It actually starts, stays, and ends real. But this is my big bro who I love a lot. Hope you guys enjoy. Yeah. Starting on Chester Bennington. No, man, that's crazy. And even like that was a series I did called Homecoming in Curacao, Florida. That was
now
when
I'm actually here. Came home.
Homecoming.
Came home.
How does it feel to be home?
Well, I've come home a few times since then, but this trip in particular is special because I wanted to come see y'all. I wanted to come spend time with you, Yasmin, Isla, and Malike, who, like, I came in April. What was that, like 2 months after he was born? He was born in March, late March, early
Yeah, April, you came on my birthday weekend.
Yeah. So, and that was just for 2 days, so I didn't get a lot of time with him.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to come back. Like, I was supposed to technically be going to Europe next week on this tour, but now it's paused. But I still wanted to honor the fact that this was the time I was going to take to be out here and just spend time with y'all. Yeah.
Which, curveball to you. You were on tour with Childish Gambino. We got to see you for a second in Tampa, running around in the shadows,
Working.
with a big ass behind the guy with the big ass camera, and you were fucking. That was crazy.
Pulling focus for my colleague Reed, who was doing Steadicam on that.
You were that was how many stops was what stop was that? Tampa, like 10?
I think we got like 20 stops in, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 15 to 20, something like that.
And then right after Tampa,
Like two shows after, because we did Sunrise right after y'all, New Orleans, and then when we got to Houston, we were building the show in Houston. That's when we were gonna postpone Houston because Donald wasn't feeling well, and then we moved forward to Austin, and then that's when they were like, hey, we're gonna pause the rest of the tour for now, the U.S. leg. Yeah.
So we talked about it earlier on the way back from the gym, but like pivoting.
Whole lot of pivoting in general in my life.
You build up to this, pivot, up, thrown. I mean, I don't know, start the pod, but I feel like, have you gotten used to? I've known you most of your life, right? I mean, you know me since I was born.
I've known you your whole life.
There's 2.5 years. I don't know what the fuck he was doing.
There's a lot that could have taken place in those 2.5 years.
Hey, man,
a lot could happen in a day.
I know you, but I don't know what you did those 2.5 years.
Not the whole story.
I know you most of my life, but I mean, how has it been having to continually pivot? Is it even pivoting anymore? Or is it just
it's just life. It's just the reality of like how I see, at least my experience, how things work. I think maybe since like high school, college in particular, like community college, I feel like I just recognize you gotta like be ready, like make a plan, like have shit down to a T if that helps you like move forward, but be ready for if some shit happens, like you can't just hold on to a plan just to hold on to a plan. Like you gotta face the reality of what's in front of you.
But there's I feel like, cause I'm not a plan type of guy.
You kind of are though. You're a goal-oriented dude. Okay. And in order to have goals, I'm
a goal.
Set
I'm not a plan.
Some version of a plan. Maybe not.
I
Actually, you can correct me. Or I'm not telling you how you.
No. Mansplain my song. You're mansplaining. You're brother's splaining.
I'm brother. I'm big broing you right now.
You're bro-splaining. Bro-splaining. No. You're right. I'm a vision, future-oriented guy. I'm a dreamer.
You're a futurist and a dreamer.
I'm not necessarily like step 1, step 2, step 3. I'm a step 10 guy. I'm a 10. I like to live in 10. Step 10 is great.
Are we on 10?
Are we on 10? I love 10. Step 1,
Somebody else. You give the vision to the team, and then other people help you start from the 1 to 9, and you jump in.
Let me check in on step 6.
Yeah. Follow up, see where it's at,
and see you at 10.
Yeah.
You know,
the follow through energy.
I love step 0, where I can say, I love being able to paint the picture of step 10.
Yo, my homegirl, actually you met Annabella, a really good friend of mine, family now, because her and Sage's daughter. Thomasina's my goddaughter. But I was with them the other day, and Annabella was at the dinner table with Thomasina, and she was like essentially just encouraging Thomasina to learn how to write her numbers without any help and shit. And Thomasina, for whatever, she did the 1 through 9, like she was writing out the numbers and drawing them pretty well. And then she got to double digits, like 10, 11, 12, 13. And trying to remember how to write out 10, Annabella like tells Thomasina a story about how 0 is the most powerful number. Because if you take a 1 and then you add a 0 to it, becomes a 10. You add another 0 to that, becomes 100. Like,
wow.
And I was just like,
so really the goal is not to be number 1.
Don't be number 1, just be a 0. Hercules taught us 0 to hero.
Man, I went 0.
I'm like, we going back to 0, bitch.
What? 0
type shit.
0. That's
Anyways,
crazy.
fake deep.
Deep fake.
Somebody gonna do deep fake of this fucking interview, man.
Oh my
Put
God.
like Kendrick and Drake face on us.
Nah, but the planning versus, I heard this in seminary. We learned about the Jesuits and St. Thomas Aquinas, I believe, or it could have been Spurgeon. I don't know. They said live with. It might have been Thomas Edward, one of the church fathers, whatever. Said, and you can correct me, Cohen. I don't know.
You're gonna correct yourself in the edit.
It's like just about like in life and how the posture to live life is like live with 1 foot planted, on the ground, absolutely rooted where you are, but live with the other foot ready to move. And so life seems like, at least in my experience and our shared experience, like we have plans and, God laughs and, you have to.
It's one of my favorite quotes.
You have to bob and weave and, okay,
Facts.
well, I thought, okay.
Yeah.
But how do you also not get deterred to plan and envision in the midst of that? Because you also get disillusioned by planning.
Real fast. You're like, what's the point?
Everyone in 2019 was like, oh, this could be my year. Just think about
2020 humbled
Think about
everybody.
New Year's Eve.
You was like, 2020 is the year.
You listening to J-Lo, Waiting for Tonight. You listen to Will Millennium, Y2K.
All that, bro, yeah.
3, 2, 1. February,
Fresh slate.
March.
Mid-March, lockdown.
Sit down, be humble. Hold up.
Sit down.
Hold up, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you sit down and you're like, all right, well, I thought it was gonna be my year, but then you got to pivot, and then you see people who made it, you didn't make it, and
Business, whatever. Yeah.
You were in LA, you dealing with the Hollywood industry and stuff, and everyone having to pivot and so as you of all people, you're Nigerian, from New York, creative, hustling. What's been your experience navigating the unexpected, bro? What's it been like?
Yeah, it's just kind of like, it's just a reality to me now, but if I had to like speak from my experience and like what it means to me or what it's like, I feel like sometimes if it seemed like, I don't know, like cursed is a strong way of putting it, but like, I don't know, like our ancestors had some hard shit going on.
Like, what'd they do?
Like, there's some ancestral shit that we gotta move through because it's like, why is all this shit happening? But then at a certain point, like, stop like taking it personally and just be like, oh, that's part of growth and like success, if you will, is like rising above adversity. So just kind of like, I mean, it doesn't always work, but like looking at any challenge as an opportunity, like to challenge yourself.
This conversation reminds me of where you went to college. SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design. You went for creative writing originally?
Yeah. Well, the writing program, which wasn't creative writing when I got there, but like journalism.
This reminds me of our mutual connection to storytelling. I think yours is way cooler than mine, but my connection to storytelling is like just always wanting to tell my story from maybe some would say an egotistical place, but something that translates to good branding. good, you know.
I think from a more confident, front-facing.
Yeah,
position.
thank you, bro. Thank you for giving me
Reframe
that.
that for you.
Reframe, please. Thank you. Reframe. But in yours is like this, like maybe deeper sense, creative sense of storytelling. But you know, every story has this tension. I think we're talking about like every good story. Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Batman.
Was Dan Harmon's
Spider-Man, Circle of Life, Lion King.
and then there's the hero's journey.
Hero's Journey.
Yeah, and then there's Dan Harmon made his own version of it or whatever. But yeah.
Right? There's a hero, anti-hero, has to overcome Super Mario. Got to save the princess. Go through Bowser.
You gotta
jump
answer
over fire.
You get the call, then you gotta answer the call. You go through the depths of hell.
Mordor, destroy the ring.
Yeah,
Smeagol, my precious, right? And so it seems like without the tension, the story is lame.
Yeah.
It's almost like Sesame Street, Barney. It's
Joseph Campbell would be like, if you don't have that, it's a bad story.
So we love those stories, watching it, but when we're in it, we don't realize that, like, yo,
you need this.
Actually, if somebody was watching this, they'd be like at the edge of their seat.
Right.
Like, whoa, it's Malik's senior year of high school. He thinks everything's going well. The person who believes in him the most is there at his graduation. And then 2 weeks after his graduation, he finds out his mom has stage 4 breast cancer. You know, like,
yeah.
And you're like,
That's
your
part
heart's gut wrenching. You're like, what is he gonna do? What's gonna happen? Like, that's a good ass movie. But when you're in it, you're like, get me the fuck out of this
it's like,
movie.
this shit's too much.
I didn't sign up to be in this movie, you know? And so there's probably like, it sounds like we've like gone through like acceptance. I don't know if acceptance sometimes on the other side of acceptance seems like defeat.
Yeah.
Surrender maybe.
Sometimes you gotta get defeated to accept some shit.
But like, I'd rather come to acceptance through like an egotistical way. Like, I chose to accept this shit. No, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I get it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, not like I'm arrested. I guess I'm in jail. You know, like I want to be like I walked into this jail myself. But sometimes life feels like it just ties your hands, and you're like, well,
that's the way we learn.
Why am I going to keep trying to break through the cuffs or through the jail or through the whatever when I'm here?
Yeah.
Actually, I do think about people in jail all the time. Like, how do they accept and then like live their life, or whatever? But it seems like sometimes we're dealt a hand of cards. Cancer seems like something very unacceptable and like something that is really hard to accept. So I don't know. We'll pick up here where we did a part 1 of this interview. I feel like in Cali, but like you had this plan of going to school in SCAD, and then you found out that mom was sick. And then I know you were like, I'm not going nowhere. I'm here.
Yeah.
And then mom, because mom was the one that like made you go, in a sense, no?
You mean after she got the diagnosis? Yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna go. And she's like, no, you need to. Like, you figured out the start of your hero's journey.
Yeah.
Like, and she was just like, no, like we'll figure it out, but you have to go. Because before I went to Edison Community College, no plan.
Yeah.
Speaking of plans and planning, I wasn't always like that. No plan and no kind of direction. And then through her, I wound up going to Edison and starting that journey. And then eventually through like Maria Cahill encouraging me to take creative writing, and Kurt then coming back into town and asking me and Gene to go with him to Savannah and blah, blah, blah. It just turned into, I'm going to transfer to SCAD so I can be in Savannah and be around creatives and follow this writing thing. And then mom gets diagnosed with breast cancer, and I was like, it's a dub, like, never mind. And she's like, nah, you gotta go. And I was just like, I think I probably fought her on it a little bit, but I was like, ultimately, it's like, nah, I mean, that's But then we've talked about it years ago. I don't need to rehash it, but I dealt with a lot of guilt when I was at SCAD because I was like, my younger brother, the older brother, fucking trauma is back home, like, with my mom, and she's sick, and she's doing chemo, and you're in school, all this shit. So it wasn't easy, but she was like, if you don't go, then when are you gonna
do? Yeah. That's hard. I know you had to accept the 2 levels of like, I have to go, but like also what I'm leaving. And then I think I wanted to go to Southeastern, but like I also couldn't afford it. So that wasn't even realistic, but I haven't
talked about that in a while. My bad, man.
No, you're good. That's hard though.
Like the part about like you,
Yeah.
like I mean, mom,
Yeah.
it is what it is. But like that was hard for me. Like being
Yeah.
like my brother is like back home with
There.
mom.
And then guilt.
Yeah, it was like a guilt shame spiral. You know, before I was
Spiral.
like in therapy, obviously, and mental health aware. It was just like it was a hard thing to navigate. You know.
And I remember, it's weird because I remember feeling guilt too. Because then, like, I'm here, but like I'm home, but I'm also like trying to not be present and disconnect. Because I'm like, oh, it's cancer. You know, like,
You're in a hospital with her.
Yeah,
Everybody's bombarding
yeah.
you about mom's health and
Yeah.
wanting to help out, but like that's traumatic.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
yeah. And then I remember, and then when it got bad, she went to New York, and you went, right? And I didn't want.
You were burnt by
I
it.
was tired,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
So then on the back end, I don't even know if I've told you, on the back end, I felt guilty. Cause like everyone was like, yo, Bala, you stay.
It's fine. Take a break. Like, don't worry.
But then that was also the last leg of her life. So then I
Right.
got to New York and she was like 2 weeks left or something, you know? And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know, so then I'm like,
no matter what we did in any of
Yeah.
the situations, we'd have some version
yeah.
of it. It's
Because
just
now I
fun.
feel like, even when I think back to like New York, she was so sick. And I was like, oh, shoot. Like, I was almost like, when we went back to Jersey a couple weeks ago, when I did the wedding in there, and we were in Jersey, I remember when we left Long Island, we left the hospital, we drove to Jersey with knee or whatever, I don't remember. We got to the house, we were waiting, and now we said our goodbyes already. And then I remember I was like in the room. We got a call. You called me down. I stayed on the stairs, sat on the stairs. You were down the stairs. You looked at me and you were on the phone and you did like this. Okay, but
That's a really unhealthy way to communicate that to you. I could have just waited. Unless you were like looking at me like kind of wondering. That's kind of like, that's dark. I'm so sorry, bro.
No.
You must have been looking at me like wanting to know what was going on. Because why would I just...
But
Fuck.
I laugh so I don't cry. But like,
I don't know,
but like
man.
that's like one of those like movie moments where it's like 1 hour and 47 seconds of the movie and you just slow motion. You know, it's like, God. And I just remember that moment, like, oh shoot, like,
Yeah.
okay, you know. And I think we already moved into acceptance about everything, but
Oh, yeah, totally.
you know, stages of grief, right? Anger, sadness, guilt, denial, acceptance, and then you could experience those
In different order.
different order.
Oh, I
And
was
it's-
so
it's-
familiar with denial being the first one for some reason. Yeah,
no,
it can be-
It can be. So it's not a line. It's not linear. It's
Yeah,
cyclical,
yeah.
and it never stops. So there's times where I go in, like 12 years later, I could be in denial.
Yeah.
You know, 12 years later, you could feel guilt. 12 years later, you could feel acceptance. 12 years later, you could feel anger.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like the cycle of grief, and we grieve everything, whether it's a season of life. I do that with high school, where I go, man, high school was so great.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, I'm so mad it's gone, or sad I'm gone. It's, you know,
Yeah.
or happy it's gone. Fuck high school, it's anger, right? So, I remember that stage of life of like, I don't know, it's kind of weird. You feel relief because you're like, all right, she's no longer fighting,
Yeah.
and you go into like, okay, I can not move on, but like move forward. She's not like stuck in the hospital, sick, can't, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So then, like, 2013, I don't know how. I think we were like in a car with Dad in New York or something, and I think I don't know. Dad was in the driver's seat, you're in the passenger seat, I was in the back seat.
You must have been here.
No, I was in New York, right? So it's like 2012.
Yeah, it wasn't 13.
No, it was 2012, right? But it leads into 2013. So 2012, I think we're there for like Thanksgiving or something. We was dropping us off at the airport or some shit like that. And I'm in the back seat. It's quiet. You know, our dad tries to give us some lecture. He usually does. And I was like, yo, Dad, like, this is after Mom passed. I was like, I was like, we're graduating this year. And I did some wild, like, no, like main character shit. Where I was like, oh man, like we didn't need you or some shit. I said some shit like that. Like some like we did this without you, and if you wanna be there, you like we are graduating, you could be there if you want, but if you don't, we're still gonna fucking do it. Some shit like we're gonna hurrah, yeah, something like that. Right? So I remember he's like, oh, I'm gonna come to your graduations or whatever. We were both graduating this year. I mean, I beat you, but it's all right. I beat you too, right? I graduated first.
Yeah, 2013. You graduated May. I graduated June.
Shout out me.
Shout out you. You
buzzer
caught
beater,
up.
Buzzer beater.
You caught up and then passed me. That's what you're supposed to do.
Shout out me.
Yeah.
So I graduated May or something, 2013, and you were like in the summer or something.
You were May. I was June.
May.
It was right after.
Damn. Saved by the bell.
Yeah.
So I graduated 2013 FGCU. Da da da. He comes to my graduation. I was like, oh shoot, he actually pulled up. I remember the morning of, he was like, Bala, I'm here. And that was crazy. I put like my boy had owned like a hotel thing, like an inn. He stayed up in there. I took him to my barber, Josue. He cut my dad's hair. I just remember him being in Florida and being like, this is weird. Like this picture dad like in Florida where he never was in my whole life that I built over the last 15 years, whatever, however long it was. This is like weird. You know, and he came to the graduation and he's in the back and I'm like, he's with Big Mommy, you know, this is crazy. And then he went to my and then the craziest part of that day is that after the graduation, I threw a barbecue and he was like, he insisted on barbecuing at the barbecue. Yeah. This man burnt all the food.
I don't remember him burning everything. But
what are you doing?
That's right.
And all my friends were just like looking at me like, yo, this is bizarre. Like your dad's here, and it was just like really weird. Yeah. And then a month later, we in Savannah saw him. But what was that like for you over there? Do you remember that?
Well, one, I don't know if I ever told you this, but after your little come to our graduations, what the fuck is your problem? I told him, hey, like, and I think this was probably on the phone or something, because he was probably telling me like, hey, I don't know how I'm gonna pull off coming to both your. It was like right after each other. I was like, I don't care if you come to mine. Go to my brother's
Yeah.
Go to my brother's graduation. Like it was obviously very significant for you.
Yeah.
Not to say I didn't care, but the fact that you called him out.
Yeah.
Him and Mom made amends right before she passed. Like whatever. I was just kind of like, whatever we get. Like, and I'll rebuild my relationship with him over time. But I was like, go to my brother's graduation. So the fact that he went to yours is obviously incredible. You know, I was there. It was dope to be there with you guys, but I wasn't expecting him to be able to figure out how to come to mine, because I was like, he didn't have the bread to do it. So the fact that he figured out a way and that he came through was great. And yeah, it was dope having him there. It was dope, like, for like my professors and my friends and my peers to meet Pops, and we went out to dinner, obviously, and all that. And same but different. Like I took him to my barber in Savannah, and he got like my OGs at the barbershop got to meet my pops and shit. And there's something like, no matter like a lot of dads end up failing, man. Like we all fail, but like there's something about like your pops and like you as a man, like finding ways to connect with your pops no matter how much they fucked up, and then like other like OGs in your life, like meeting your pops, and like none of the fuck ups matter, because it's like just men like recognizing, hey, we are flawed, and like kind of like coming together to some degree or another. So it was just like a meaningful thing for me. And then obviously like then he passes like a month later, so it was like it was like it was a beautiful moment to have with him right before he passed. And he was talking about like wanting to move back to Nigeria and just have a farm. Like he just wanted to fucking chill out, man. So I'm glad that we got those moments with him right before he passed and shit. I almost feel like in some like woo-woo spiritual kind of way, like he felt more at peace. Like Mom passed and their whole relationship was like volatile to a certain degree, right? So it's like they made peace, and then he got to like show up for us in like a major way. And then like I think he was just able to like, especially that conversation about like wanting to move back to Nigeria and like telling me like, yo, make sure you and your brothers, like no matter what, you know, stay together and shit. Like I think he said and did everything that he needed to do besides like just sticking around.
Yeah,
you know?
being here. This is the hardest part.
Yeah.
So then, that was light. The last 10 minutes was light.
Yo, between all four, Juwon, the youngest one, Juwon can sit it out, but between me, you, and Dio, shit is heavy, bro.
That was the light part of the conversation. All right, so we come out of that, and then that's when we, like, 2013, 14, 15, is when I go into this, like, I get to a place where all my life, all I wanted to do was be a teacher and youth pastor, but ultimately wanting to help the next generation. Like, wanting to see someone and go, you got something. I believe in you, even if you don't believe in yourself, and even no one.
Let me pause you and ask you this, because this feels like an interview for me, but it's also you make it a conversation and it's great. So I want to throw something back at you. Do you feel like that's because you didn't have a lot of that coming up as a kid, and like obviously mom was the person that like believed in you and like lifted you up? Do you feel like you want to give back in that way to kids because you wish you had that?
Yeah, I mean,
that when you were growing up.
I mean, I think that's like ultimately what anyone who wants to do with their pain is go, well, there's a reason for this.
Use it.
You want to take your pain and turn it into purpose.
Yeah.
And you're talking about great stories, like the greatest stories are people who, it seems like the thing that the evil that was wanted to do,
the evils of Lucy was all around.
You take it and you flip it and reverse it.
Yeah.
No.
Is that a Missy Elliott reference? I see it.
Elliott.
I see it.
And so, yeah, I think, I walk into my 5th grade class going from New York where they wanted to, like, let me go. Like, yeah, man. Good riddance.
Slipping through the cracks.
I go in the Southwest Florida. I walk into 5th grade, Miss Tubb, white woman, blonde hair, big smile, looks at me with the utmost optimism.
Fresh slate. No preconceived notions about who you were or how you were.
What? Oh, like, it's not necessarily. Yeah, I did some wild stuff. I admit.
Just reminded me of the Rick James skit in Chappelle.
It's a hell of a drug. Childhood's a hell of a drug. And then, and then looking at her, looking at me and go, oh, what does she see? And then realizing that no one knows, other than you, Mom, no one really knows, like, my history, and really just going like, oh, this is what unlimited potential looks like. You have the ability to like really rise above whatever it is, the preconceived whatever. And so then that's where I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And the 5th grade was great. It was like a reset. 6th grade, I'm like, oh, I walk into Miss Darab's class, history, Gulf Middle School, and she's just funny and making everyone feel great. And I'm like, I want to do that. I want to make other people feel great about it. She's done ancient Egypt and talking about this and that, but she's just like, she's picking on me. She's like, Malike, what are you talking to? Just giving me attention and giving me like good attention, even though I'm giving negative energy. And then, from there, I walk into a youth group with Pastor Justin, and I walk in on a Wednesday night, and he's making everyone in the room feel. He's doing a sermon series on Narnia, and he's comparing Narnia to Jesus. And I'm like, this is cool. But again, I'm talking in this audience, and he calls me out. He's like, hey, you, what's your name? And boom. And I'm like, but he flipped
like a playful,
it wasn't
embrace
like,
you,
go
include
to the
you
office.
kind of way.
It was I like you.
It's crazy how tone and like delivery can like change.
Yeah, everything. He wasn't intimidated by the wild kid talking in the audience. He and I literally go, I want to do that. I want to make him feel how he's making me feel, even though I know I'm trying this, man. I'm trying this, bro. I'm trying it. I'm trying.
I think subconsciously you were always testing everybody.
I'm always testing, bro.
Yeah. To this day.
To this day. Shout out
Deontay.
To this day.
I'm like always trying to see like how far I can make. I want to make people feel uncomfortable and see what happens when everyone's uncomfortable. I want to know what happens when Cohen filming this feels uncomfortable. I want to see I want to see what happens. No, but we had a conversation, and this is like rewinding, but we had a conversation when Mom was dealing with stuff, or maybe after, and you said you felt. I remember the conversation. It was like you felt like growing up, you couldn't say the things and do the things you wanted because you had to keep the peace, make everyone happy. If Big Mommy or Big Daddy or whoever asks you to do something, you do it, and just okay, responsible, and I was the opposite, where I was like, I'm gonna stir some shit up.
Yeah.
And you're gonna ask me to do it, and I'm not gonna do it. And so like your reality seemed like, from my vantage point, was like, man, everyone loves him. Damn, like everyone, like if me and you are in a room and someone needs someone to trash to go out or someone to wash the dishes or just help, they're gonna ask you 10 times and ask me 0. And I was like, God, you want me to help? But ultimately, if they asked me to help, I would be like, why? Why? When? Why do I have to do it? And so I looked at you like, man, everyone loves him, and everyone thinks he's great, and no one fucks with me, no one likes me. And I like envied the position.
I envied how much you didn't give a fuck.
Hey, yeah, you know, in the moment it felt good. In the moment it felt like, no, I'll say this. I always loved, and I do to this day. I love when everyone goes this way and I just go this way. Even if I get lost this way, I just like when y'all go that way. I'm gonna go see what's over here.
The ironic thing is that I'm like that too.
Yeah. But mine came from this, like, I thought everybody was against me. I don't know why. Even when I tell the story of my childhood, I feel like everyone wasn't against me.
But they kind of were too.
I don't know.
I'm gonna have your back. No, I feel like I probably told you this years back too. I kind of like want you to know that I tried to have your back, but I did see that before I could even consciously understand it. I was like, oh, like everybody's just expecting him to fucking fail, and I feel like I was like close enough to know there was more to you, but also like, yeah, now this is a wild dude. Like he just can't help himself.
I can't deny it.
But I think that's something I've always admired about you is that
But I've always admired your. I'm gonna tell you about this man. Yeah, zoom in here. This motherfucker could, you go into his house or he comes and stays at your place for a week. He'll fold his shirts. He'll fold his shirt, his pants. He'll put everything just lined up, just organized.
That's just how I am.
Meticulous.
Yeah.
He don't. Other than laptops, he don't lose nothing.
Yo, relax.
He lose laptops.
Broke
habitual
laptop.
line stepper. He's responsible. He'll be like, I'm taking a break from drinking this year. I'm like, damn, why? He's like, I don't know. I just feel like I need to. I'm like, he's like, nigga, I'm not breathing this year. You're not breathing. He's like, yeah.
It's for a bigger purpose.
Everyone's using air. We gotta stop using air. I'm like, all right, cool, bro. I'm gonna keep breathing that shit. Right? Like, you just be disciplined just for the sake of discipline, just to see. He is the person who created Going Ghost. You know, if you don't know.
I was like 16, 17 years old.
Bro, if you watching this, you know what this is, bro. Just put it in the comments. Bro, this man would just go ghost. You don't go. You know what go ghost means? Go ghost is when you don't answer your text. You don't go out. You just, and then everyone would say, yeah, man, and he's going ghost. How does everyone accept that? That's so weird. How did you get away with that? But like,
I'm a weird dude,
you have
man.
this like, I don't know what it is, Mr. Miyagi, whatever about you. Where I'm indulgent. I'm like, more of it.
That Cookie Monster.
Yeah, energy. Like more, and I've always admired that like level of like, I'd say you indulge in passive pleasure. You see long term. I indulge in like very active pleasure. Like yes. Now, right? And so I've always envied that or admired that / like coveted that. Like I'm like, oh man, why can't I be more like that? And then I'm sure you're probably like, man, I wish I'd just be in the fucking
not give a fuck.
Be lit.
Yeah.
And it's obviously extremes, like because I have a large sense of discipline and
without a doubt,
right,
you have a fucking family,
consistency, right? Which is like
and a business.
The antithesis of me is like domestication. Monotony, consistency.
Paradox is a motherfucker.
Right? Isn't that crazy?
All that discipline, look at me.
Look at you now.
Can't keep a fucking relationship.
Every city, every week. Where do you live?
Who wants to go into
I
touring?
live in the most
Who wants
boring
to go into
place
touring,
ever.
Bro? I'm touring and shit.
It doesn't
It's
make
some
sense.
madness. Yeah.
You would think it's switched
That's what I'm
from
saying.
our childhood. You would think
Paradox.
That's crazy. This is my first time I ever thought about that.
I just had the revelation sitting here talking about it right now.
Crazy. My revelation right now is that your jacket matches the couch.
I told you. I am the couch, bro.
You're the. That's my jacket.
This is your jacket. You have dressed me today.
Nah, I didn't. Nah, but like the camo with the.
Yeah, the camo's me.
And then I don't know where you got the hat. It's like you just bought that. Like what the hell? Where'd you get the hat from? It's weird. So, yeah, man. I think that's interesting. Thinking about like where you're from, who you were when you were a kid. Because like I think, especially because people meet you now, they only see you now. But like I just know like who I am now is all because of who I am as a kid.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
The first 9 years of your life is like setting the narrative of like the rest of the trilogy.
I mean, therapy keeps teaching me that over and over and over.
Yeah?
Yeah, just that, like, all this shit, all of it ties back to childhood. I feel like that shit comes up all the time.
How's that journey been? I know you tapped into that a little bit later than me.
Way later than you. I feel like you were in therapy for like 6 years before I.
Not by choice.
But
by
also,
choice.
yeah.
Like, I mean, I could have.
Yeah, you could have not done it. Yeah.
Neo could have chose the red pill or blue pill. I guess you could always choose. But I mean, it felt like a rock bottom feels like you don't have a choice. It feels
Totally,
like the jig is up. The police have surrounded you.
Yeah.
You got to put your hands up.
That's
right?
it. Yeah.
So rock bottom feels like that. But I mean, how was that first walk into therapy? Realizing you got to face some shit. Maybe not the first one, because the first one could always be weird.
Well, it's worth bringing up since you asked me, and since I'm sitting here with you talking about it, is like when I came back to Southwest Florida in 2016 to like come kick it with you, when it was like a pretty extreme period for you in terms of like depression and stuff. And leading up to that, like you were here and you were surrounded by people who knew Mom, like. The passing of Mom and also Dad was like in your face. You have more time because it's a slower way of life down here. I'm in New York and then LA, like hustle bustle, trying to make shit pop like completely from scratch pretty much. And like you had been facing all the grief and shit that comes up when you deal with loss, and I didn't really have the time to do so. So when I came here and I was kicking it with you for a few months, witnessing you deal with what you were dealing with emotionally and in therapy, but still like having a challenging time, was like a kind of like smack in the face for me of like, oh, I haven't been dealing with it because I haven't had time to, or the resources or the luxury to do so to speak. So that's when it became apparent to me, and I was like, I should try therapy. So all that to say, my first time in therapy was down here going to your therapist. And it just wasn't a good fit, but it was like kind of like,
because he was white. It took me a while. It was all right. You can say it.
Mine is that my former therapist, my first proper therapist, and then my therapist now. My first therapist was, I think, half white, half Hispanic, half white, and then my current therapist is white. So no, that's not why.
Was your first therapist Drake?
Drake?
Sorry. Hey, Drake. I'm sorry.
I was gonna keep singing the song.
Wait.
Yeah. So for me, that first goal was like, all right, this is part of the therapy journey. Is like, this isn't a good fit, but also seeing how you were dealing with things and how therapy was a part of your lifestyle. I was like, when I can afford this and have the resources to do it, I do need to try therapy. Yeah. So my first therapist, all that to say, we did remote therapy, and that was that was the end of 2021 into 2022. So like 10 months, I think, weekly Zoom calls. And I mean, it was powerful because the main thing, like from the jump, he was like, you're a very resilient person. I can tell that right away, like from just a few minutes into our call. And his main call out / thing he wanted to work on with me was being vulnerable. And it wasn't until then, like I always feel like like sensitive or like down to share what I'm going through. But he helped me realize that it was actually always as a presentation, like not when I'm in the middle of a crisis or something that I'm like having a hard time with, but after the fact, and I'm just like, oh, so this happened, and da 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 da. I'm giving you the bullet points, but when I'm in it, I'm like J. Cole, like I'm dealing with that shit on my own. You know, I don't know if you remember on fucking the warm up, he had that one song. I deal with it on my own. I deal with it. I identified with that from the jump because it's like, like when I'm going through some shit, I'll figure it out. And I think that a lot of it, I mean, it probably comes from a lot of places, but childhood. So to tie it back to what I was saying, it was like, you know, for whatever reason, growing up, you know, I had a different relationship with mom than you did. So I'll just say for me, I felt like there was an emotional distance between me and mom, and there's probably factors for that, her upbringing and stuff with her and dad, but like that left a sort of like hole in me of like I have to, like an abandonment wound, not from being literally abandoned, but from being emotionally abandoned, where it was like I gotta figure shit out on my own. And so that just stayed with me. So through my old therapist, shout out to him, I recognized that and we worked on it. And I think in reconnecting with somebody I used to date like years back, very recently actually, I recognized in my dynamic with her and from feedback from her that like, like it's night and day damn near of like how I would like interact with her in terms of like vulnerability on an emotional side versus now. So I think that was like an impactful and insightful, and I've integrated a lot of that. And that's not to say I don't still have those challenges, but I find that I even notice myself when I'm dealing with something, making a point to reach out to a friend and just say, hey, this is happening. Versus like just...
You're in the moment, being seen in the midst of your pain is the true vulnerability, not after. After you can be like, back in the day, I used to struggle with
I didn't understand that back in the day.
Back in the church days, they'd be like, I used to struggle with lust.
Addiction.
Pornography. When I was a sinner. Like, you struggle with sin right now.
Right now, sir.
Yeah. It's easier to say, you know, back in the day or, you know, but saying right now, I'm in it, I'm in the pit, I'm in the mud, I'm in the mud. It's good to say
I've even done it with you. I've literally been like, hey, like me and so-and-so broke up, like just to fucking challenge myself of like, hey, I'm in the moment, even if I don't have anything else.
I don't know why we broke up. I don't know where we're going to go. I don't know what's I'm in it now, though. Being vulnerable in the midst of being present is vulnerable. Being present with yourself is vulnerable. So you have to sit with what you feel. Being present with you isn't vulnerable because I have to engage with you now, eye to eye. Here, intimacy. Here,
is that harder for you? I have an easy time being present with myself, and I'm more challenged by, from a vulnerable state, being present with someone else and showing them.
I do a better job being present with.
That's so fascinating.
I do a better job being present with 200 people.
That's fascinating.
Than being present with me or one-on-one.
I think it's your extrovert to my introvert. That's gotta be it.
I love being tapped into a crowd of wedding guests and being like, this is the greatest moment of their life and I am a part of it. And I will go full, give who I am from my core to these people. I'd rather do that than sit with you or Yaz or whoever and go, here's who I am. It's easier to do that than to do this.
Fascinating.
But I know you can sit next to a rock and be like, rock, why are you round? And you'd be like, You know, like, I just don't, I hate phone conversations. I mostly hate FaceTimes. I hate catching up. I rather catch up with a group of people than catch up one-on-one.
Oh, Heinz 57 ass.
Yeah. I really, and it's challenged me, you know, because it's a way of hiding. Vulnerability, it means you're not hiding, it's like, you know, you got yourself. Oh.
You got the mic.
Re-edit. You got yourself. You know, you got yourself to the world or whoever, and you're like, oh, do you accept me? I remember this. I remember when I walked into therapy with Ron, and he said, hey man, I think you're depressed, and did the test and the thing, and I was like, yo, you know who I am, bro? Like, come on, bro. Like, I'm the life of the party. He goes, cool, man. I'm. That's cool, but
not in here.
Well, here's what you were depressed.
Wow.
And conversations of meds and years of therapy ahead, and I'm like, damn, how am I gonna tell my friends I'm depressed and anxious? I remember telling my two friends, Gabby and Stefan, I was like, hey man, I think I have depression, and they were like, yeah, I know. And I told
Wow.
you, and I told and they were like, yeah, you lost your parents and you lost your church family and this and that, and they're like, I'm surprised you're still here, And what led me to that room was like me driving and being like, oh man, like I'll just swerve this car type of thing. And last month, actually recording this last month was like suicide awareness, and it's a big part of like my story. We go to schools to carry hope and talk about, there's always hope and love can change the world, and you have a purpose, and just keep breathing. And we tell these kids all over the world, like keep going. And so like being alive. The message of being alive has a big place because I get what it feels like to feel like you don't want to, but I also feel the other end of it, of like not feeling that and then being like, I'm so glad I stuck around to see the miracle. Like I'm so glad I stuck around to move through the depression, anxiety, because I mean it's still there. But I'm glad I'm not like completely in despair, and not only that, like I'm glad I get to spread joy. That's one of my favorite things.
What's helped you not be completely in despair and have the moments of joy that you can now share and impart with the youth who's dealing with like high rates of suicide and like?
Well, I think when you talk about this, it's very, very important to not glamorize the solutions. It's like you can be like, because I think when people write books and they do podcasts and they always go, you just gotta, and they like sum up 10 years of struggle in like these like you just gotta believe, think, and live. You just believe, it's like, bro, come on.
That's the tricky thing about sound bites. It's like well-intentioned, but it become the oversimplification of it.
I'll start very carnal, basic. You got to do whatever you got to do to stay on this earth. I mean that in every aspect of, whether that's medication, whether that's solace care, check yourself in, intervention, like there are drastic measures. If the police have to come and get you, handcuff you, life or death, you have to live. Just keep breathing. There's nothing else at the end of the day other than breathing. So whatever you got to do, breathe. Meaning, whether it's walking into a police station, like at the end of the day, if you are your biggest threat, you have to remove that factor. That's the carnal, unromantic part. Survive. You think you see those stories of like people who go up the mountain and have to like get stuck in the snow and they have to drink their own pee and eat. They have to eat the guy that died, and you're like, God damn. But they lived to tell that story.
Survival,
So I don't know what I can say about those guys other than, so that's crazy. So
you got the reaction.
I wanted it. So survive, just keep breathing. And then from there, you have to go like, okay, but why? Why? Why do I need to keep breathing though? Like, all right, you can't tell me hope for hope's sake.
Is this what you get? What you got from Viktor Frankl? Man's Search for Meaning.
Man's Search for Meaning.
Yeah. Like purpose.
Come on, dog. Yeah. Logotherapy. Viktor Frankl, psychologist, maybe scientist, but definitely psychologist. Got pulled up in the whole Auschwitz camp, concentration camp. He sitting next to these guys, every day people are going to the incinerator, dead, friends, people he grew up with, neighborhood, people are just getting killed, and he's next, he's coming up. And he decided to kind of do a case study of the people in the concentration camps, and people were killing themselves before they even got there, committing suicide, all this stuff. And he said he did a study while he was there, and he studied the people that stayed alive. He said, what kept them going? What was the thing that made them stick around, even though the next day might be like them being in the incinerator?
Yeah.
And he saw one guy with a picture of his wife, and he saw one guy that wanted to do this when he got out, and for him it was this experiment of knowing what kept people going.
Yeah.
And he, in that moment, in that time, created this form. He realized that it was purpose that kept people. He said, what demands you to be alive? I can't die because if I die, my kids won't have me. I can't die because if I die, this project won't get finished. This thing won't get.
Yeah.
What demands that you stay on this earth? Because if you die, then the world has less of fill in the blank. And that's what he decided was the form of therapy. So he'd find these people after he got out, all that stuff. He got out. He started to help heal people through this form of logotherapy. And you got to find something to live for. That's it. He brought it down to one thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I attach so much to Curate. Because to be honest, after I stopped teaching and I stopped pastoring and ministering, I needed to find something to do, and that was Curate Southwest Florida, which was like more of like an independent media company that was sort of about highlighting this beautiful place that saved my life and the creatives and entrepreneurs and creative entrepreneurs that were doing things here. And then from there, it was like, how do we take this to the next level? And then we pivoted to Curate Entertainment, and that was like, let's throw the best celebrations this city has ever seen, this state has ever seen, this country has ever seen.
I've heard reviews.
This world, to the world.
Curate 5-year.
Curate to the world.
Come on.
To the world. And then, realizing like, oh, wait, hold up. Like the thing my mom, I'm actually DJing because of my mom. I remember how I'm only DJing because of her, because she wanted me to DJ these like teen nights that were faith-based and help kids get out of the inner city. And then I did that, and then I went to doing parties, and then I went to do weddings, and I realized weddings had this meaning and purpose, and that's what I wanted to be a part of. Not the clubs, not the radio, but like meaningful moment. Oh shoot, holy, spreading joy through meaningful moments. Whoa, I can do that, and I can actually invite other people into that. And actually I'm not pastoring or teaching, but I'm actually doing something even greater. I'm impacting people's lives through creating meaningful moments, spreading joy. Oh,
come on.
So I stayed alive to do this. Whoa.
Crazy.
Right?
I'm proud of you, man. Like, your journey is, I tell you all the time, you probably already tired of it, but like, I look up to you. I'm like inspired by you. I'm your older brother, but I think it's a transference all the time. Like, sometimes I'm just like, I'm fucking proud of that guy, and I'm inspired by him, straight up and down.
Oh shit, man. I mean, you saved my life. I tell kids all around the world when we do assemblies that my brother saved my life. In the last part of our assembly, we start with, there's always hope, just keep breathing. We go to purpose. And I tell a story about how when I was quit my job at the church, quit my job at the school, I'm living with 3 roommates who go to work every day. I don't have a job. I don't have a purpose. I'm laying on my floor. I'm on my bed. I'm telling myself to get the fuck up, to go have purpose, trying to optimist myself, positive myself. I roll off the bed onto the floor. I'm laying on the floor. I'm crying on my carpet, face in the floor, and then like you call me that evening, and you're like, "How are you?" And I'm like, "I'm not okay." And I remember you kind of like, almost like you were shocked. You're like, "Huh?" Like, because I've always been like the, "Hey, you were good, Faith," and you were like, "Fuck."
I told you about the dream I had, right?
I don't remember if you did.
A day before that, 2 days before that, I had a dream that you committed suicide, and Anita called me to tell me that you committed suicide. So when 2 days later, like, because I didn't take that dream lightly, like it was like mom and dad passing was significant. So like to have a dream that vivid of like somebody calling me to tell me that my brother, you know what I'm saying? Like to then talk to you and to find out just how challenging of a time you were having, and like that it was that intense for you. Like that's why I came. That's why I came back to Florida for that.
Wow, I do remember that you said that.
Yeah.
Because, I remember you were like, and now in the story I go, that's why he took that. Because I was like, because I could be, I was like, maybe I said it so intensely, like, I'm not okay.
I had it, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you
like
actually.
A premonition, it was like an omen.
Stopped everything, because you were like in the middle of
It was like 6 months into my move to LA.
You were like,
I was on a month-to-month lease, freelancing, like, yo, it's that bad. Like, is it helpful for me to come down there for a bit? And I think you were kind of hesitant, but you're like, yeah. Like, I didn't have a plan. I was just like, solidarity. Like, I'm just gonna pull up and like we'll figure it out. And when I was here, honestly, I didn't feel like it was helpful for me to be here. That's why, like, hindsight being 2020, and like you just telling me after the fact, like what it meant for you, and like obviously now all the years of like doing these talks with kids and you bringing up that story, like I'm humbled, because honestly I was just like, I feel like I didn't fucking actually help. So to know that it was helpful, it was just like you never know what somebody's dealing with and going through on the inside of how they look at it. You know what I'm saying?
We say one act of love can change the world. And I always say the one act of love my brother did was stop everything he was doing, dreams, visions, and come and just go to the gym with me. I remember when I was boxing. Remember like
we're in the garage.
Yeah, in the garage.
We did yoga together.
And I was like, that part of my life like helped me get up off the ground, literally, physically off the ground. And I tell people, like, I tell the kids, like, yo, look to your right, look to your left. You're at in the lunchroom, like one act of love, one sit down, talk with a kid at lunch, one nice shirt can change someone's life. You inconveniencing yourself for a moment, a day, a month, a year can change, and that's a part of my story. That's a part of like my purpose, is like to tell people that part of my life informs a lot of what I did the next. It's about to be 10 years, I think. 2014, 15.
Like, what you mean? What part?
That part of my mental health journey, going to you coming. I started seeing Ron, therapy.
I came at the top of 16, but you had been in therapy for like 2 years at that point or something.
Yeah, that whole season is kind of coming up to like a decade.
Yeah.
And since then, I feel like I've been able to redeem a lot of that despair because I think what happened when mom passed and then when dad passed, it was like I went only to purpose. I went to like help people. I didn't want to help myself.
Yeah.
And now I realize like you can't help yourself by helping people. You can only help people through the overflow of the healing that happens within yourself. Because you can try to save the world while you suffer.
Some Bruce Wayne shit.
And you get to the end of the movie, Skyfall. Watch Skyfall?
I haven't finished that movie.
But like every superhero movie, fine. They save the world. Superman like stops the asteroid. And everyone in the background's like, oh my God, this guy's,
Yeah.
And then he saves the asteroid, and then he like dies.
Yeah. Sacrifices.
And you're like, we love that part of the story where like, it's almost like you want the ending to be, he saves the world, and then he like flies off. And we love the artists, we love the Kanyes who create deep within the Kid Cudis and a lot of people we all, me and you have mutual love for, that create these great things, but also feel like they have to sacrifice themselves. On the creative side, do you feel like that's true? That we have that is that an accepted reality that that's how it ends? Or is there a way to have both? Is there a way to be great without the darkness taking over and the self-sacrificial martyrdom you know?
Well, I think two things. I think it's a yes and. So I have to say it because my perspective on it hasn't changed. I rewatched our first interview, and we
It's
talk
like you
about
asked this question already,
Yeah,
bro.
it's so many words. I do think that, and you said it yourself in different words earlier in this conversation of like taking a pain and turning it into purpose. I think you can take pain and turn it into great art. I think you can have, as a creative, have pain that you use to create greatness. And also, I'm no longer like I was in my late teens, early 20s, of the mind that you have to be this tortured artist to be a great artist. I don't think that's the case. I think if you come from pain and strife, and a lot of people would say that they do to some degree or another, even if they come from like a strong family household or whatnot, I think that stuff can be great for an artist, and also you can be healed and create great art. Or you can come from a great background where you didn't have the same types of struggles as maybe someone like you or I had, and still
Yeah.
be able to make great art. So I think, I mean, all things can be true in that.
Okay, so maybe not, tortured artist is not necessarily the only way, but you are like, to me, one of like the most pure creative that I feel like I've known in my life.
That's crazy. I have a hard time. I've been getting that recently from like peers and stuff, and I've never allowed myself to
Yeah.
believe that I was like a proper
Sounds like what a
creative or
creative, a
artist.
really pure creative would say. You purist, right? So,
Sure.
accept it or not, that's what I
sure.
feel. That's my experience. And you've been able to follow that creative drive to all over the world, different rooms with a lot of cool people, and but you've also been able to make a living off of it. So what, I mean, maybe the conversation mutually is like, we've been able to turn what we love doing into income. Do you feel like there is a tension doing that?
Tension in
Tension
taking what you
in
love doing
making
and
money while being creative, and do you ever have to sacrifice the creative for the business, and do you ever have to sacrifice the business for the creative?
Yeah, all of those things are true. I think the tension lies in, I mean, it can be different things, but like your values. Sometimes a lot of us in like the industry and industries that I occupy talk about this of like, sometimes you don't align. For instance, right, somebody might politically, like a creative that is in my industry might align as a liberal or a leftist and go work on like a Trump rally or something like that, right? And I think the tension would lie in like, in general, working on a project where you will inherently, even if it's not like a public sort of like endorsing, like you're helping somebody sell an idea that you maybe don't align with.
Right.
And I think business is business, right? If you're a struggling creative who just needs a gig to help them get another gig and create a portfolio and blah, 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 there's sometimes is a question you have to ask yourself. Is me surviving and paying the rent worth me working on a project that I don't align with? But I think also, yeah, as a business person, I'm like 2 years. I got questions for you, really. Well, I'm 2 years into having my LLC, and like I've been an independent contractor for 10 years, but 2 years into like having an LLC and being like a business owner. And yeah, I think the tension as like business owner versus creative, or like being a creative business owner, is like, yeah, it's like you want to like generate income and revenue and to have a brand that is recognizable.
You ever work a job
you
like
work, you make I just make them work
you make it work.
together. Like my biggest, I say like my brand, so to speak, or like my biggest motivator is like, I just want to work on dope creative projects with people I actually enjoy being around. And like the idea of like me doing Steadicam and using Steadicam as part of like my company name, We Going Steady, the idea for me was like, I'm going steady with my creative colleagues and the companies and people that we're collaborating with. Like, we're going steady. Like, we're gonna create long-term collaborative relationship, and also I'm gonna bring camera operating, Steadicam operating into the mix to like make great images. But yeah,
That's fire. And I feel the same, where I'm like, sometimes I have to make a decision. You know, I think at first with Curate and even just me as a DJ, just DJ Malike, right? I had to just get it how I get it. I'll do a country gig at a ranch. I don't care.
Get it how you get it and keep it moving.
What's up?
Shout out Gene.
Shout out Gene.
To this day.
He's back here, by the way.
We shouted him out in the last podcast, by the way.
Gene's back here with Bianca. I saw Bianca at the hospital at Golisano's one time.
Word.
But I think there's a lot of times where I've felt like I just had to do what I needed to do. And then as I've gotten further in my career and I've gotten to the rooms where I wanted to get to and I got the money that I asked for, you start to go, well, and then every time you leave your house, it's different when you have kids and, when your time becomes more valuable, you're like, okay, no, well, what do I really want to do? And then now, like, when I have a sales call, like, it's not them just interviewing me, it's me interviewing them. It's me going like, wait, who are you? Like, what's your vibe? Like, they ask me all these questions and they go, okay, well, send the quote. And I go, whoa. Hey, tell me about yourself.
Yeah.
Where are you from? What do you do? Why should I, because it's not just about, like, it's a mutually beneficial relationship. If the more you love me and what I do and who I'm about and my why and how and process, the more you love that, and the more you express that, the more I go, oh, these are my people. But then the more I know who you are and why you chose me, and the more I enjoy, like, who you are, and the more I enjoy what I do, the better the synergy and match, the more I'm going to enjoy what I do, but I'm going to do it better because I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
And the more you're going to enjoy it.
Straight up.
And it's going to be this.
Feeds it, Feeds itself.
And over time, I've realized, like, like, all business is business, but my favorite part of business is when I feel like I'm not working.
Yeah. That's real.
You ever been on a set and you're just like, this is dope.
Yeah, these are my people.
These are my people.
We're making stuff we care about.
This is
we
what
have
I
the
enjoy
resources, or we don't have the resources we could have, but we're all down.
We're in.
Yeah,
We're locked
it doesn't
in.
feel
and,
like a chore.
And people, we don't work for money. So on one side, we don't work for money. We work for fulfillment, purpose, belonging. I mean, you just name it. We want to feel as part of something bigger. We want to feel like we are in our flow, in our zone, in our ikigai, right? And then on the other end, people don't purchase with money. They purchase with emotion. They want to feel like this is the person that's meant to be on the credits of this movie. This is the person that's meant to be the DJ, photographer, florist, cake of my wedding, my one and only, or my corporate event. Like, this is the guy. This is the perfect match. Like, and this is like, when we go and buy a shirt, a pair of pants, a necklace, we see it on the mannequin or we see it on the model in the picture, and we go, ooh, that's me. That's for me.
Yeah. There's a story that you have, like a vision that you,
And I think that's my favorite part and aspect of what I feel like I do with storytelling, with branding, with Curate, is matching DJs with the couple and them going like, we love EDM, but my husband's from Trinidad and we were gonna get married in Miami and we just want it to feel like one big party and DJ Flex, boom, oh my God, and then he does the wedding, he kills it. They turn up, they're playing soca, and they're playing this, and he's in Miami, so he plays some house, and he plays some.
He understands, and he knows that story,
and
he understands.
He's from that. It's coming out of who he is. Yeah. It's an overflow of who he is.
Yeah.
And to be like, oh, we played a part in that. We curated that. Oh shit.
How does your
fire
storytelling, curation, and your experience with mental health informed how you run business?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it makes me one, like, I think our company is like the most, I feel like Curate on the back end and the internal has the biggest heartbeat of any other company I've ever seen. We understand that people are people, humans are humans, and from my history and walk of life, like, I've been a part of a community / organization that I feel like was very much so focused on output instead of input. And I'm like, let's get that. Like, you're here because of the output you put out, but you stay here because of the input we put in, and how much we invest in you, and how much we love you, and how much we understand and listen and get you. That keep, like, look, people might come for money, but they stay for culture. They stay for belonging. They stay for purpose. They stay for, this is where I'm supposed to be. Dude, people spend 40 hours plus of their life at a job. Dude, our DJs spend weekends away from their family. How do you want to be spending that time?
Yeah.
For who? Like, we live in a day where Gary Vee is like, go start your own fucking business. Fuck every industry. Fuck every organization. Just do it yourself. Like, why would anyone want to go work for someone or work with someone when they can do it themselves? Because, you know what? I'd rather be a part of this and where this is going than do it myself, because this is really cool. So my biggest thing is, like, one, my number one job as a CEO, as the guy who started this thing, is like, where are we going? Why are we doing it? And just remind our team, where are we going? Why are we doing it? Two is to make people that interact with our company, whether client, staff, 1099, make them better than I found them. Curate needs to leave everyone that it touches better, even the enemies, even the haters. Yes, haters, we want to leave you better than we found you. How do we leave people better than we found them? Mm-hmm. So that even if it doesn't work out, they go, man, fucking glad I was a part of that
Impact.
shit. I've had people that we fired thank me. And that's, like, goals.
That's crazy. I never thanked nobody. Well,
yeah.
I've been fired.
I've been fired from Subway. I definitely didn't think that. But, like, I think for me, I don't see anything as money. I don't see anything as work. I see everything as purpose and belonging and being a part of something. And I think I see Curate, I'll say this simple. If you think that Curated Entertainment is a DJ company, you're absolutely wrong.
What is Curated Entertainment?
It is an emotional laundering company.
Breaking badass motherfucker.
It is, we hustle and push emotion. On the front end,
Are you breaking good?
Breaking good.
And on that note,
You heard it here first. We are an emotional,
Are you Walter
emotion laundering company. On the front end, when you walk into the store, you think we're a laundromat, you think we're a car wash, but behind the scenes, we're just trying to make you feel something. We're trying to make you feel joy.
there it is.
We're trying to make you feel you belong here on this dance floor. We're trying to make you feel you are marrying the person you love, and this is the best environment to be in. We want to make you feel, if you don't feel something good when you leave us, it was a weak batch.
I'm glad you tied that in there, because I said the Walter Black thing and you didn't acknowledge it.
No,
you were
I got you.
You were cooking, so I let
It's
you
Walter
go.
White, Walter Black, but I'm black. I'm black, so I am black. So shout out to the blacks.
Plus, like, Walter White was white, but he was doing a dark thing. You're
doing a dark
Walter
thing.
Black, or you're
But
doing
I'm
a light
doing
thing.
the light thing.
All right, that's enough.
Wow.
There it is.
Creative writing, SCAD. Before we go, it's been heavy. We agree on a lot, we disagree on a lot. So let's we're gonna
Oh, it's gonna be a Kendrick Drake thing, isn't it?
No, we're not starting there.
Okay.
All right, 5 more minutes, Cohen, and we're out. But this last 5 minutes, I need to know some very fucking important questions. Growing up in New York, we both I was born in Brooklyn. Where were you born?
I was born in Brooklyn.
You were born in Brookdale Hospital too?
Brownsville, Brookdale Hospital, 2.5 years before you, my nigga.
Okay. OG. Who triple OG? Face ass. But we lived in Queens because my mom lived in Queens.
We moved to Queens when I was like 3. We were both
Somewhere
with
in the
mom
90s.
and dad in Queens, and they split up. Dad went back to Brooklyn. We stayed.
Gotcha. Okay. So there were these two philosophers. One name was Nas, the other one name was Jay-Z. I feel like, really sided with Nas.
As a kid, 12 years old, I sided with Nas.
As a 10-year-old or whatever, really took to Jay-Z for some reason.
Yeah, I was a fan of both of them, but I identified more with Nas, especially because of Queens.
2024, we're here. Who won that battle?
Oh, I would have told you back in the day Nas won, and I'll say it to this day. And I'm a huge
Nas won.
And I'm a huge Jay-Z.
Takeover.
And I'm a huge Jay-Z fan. Ether was after Takeover. Most Jay-Z would tell you Nas won.
Jay-Z would say that?
So all of you who somehow feel like, because then he dropped Super Ugly as a response to Ether, and it wasn't great. Jay-Z revived Nas's career. Jay-Z kind of, we all win. Because honestly, Nas was falling off. Like, he did two albums. He did I Am and Nostradamus, which was originally supposed to be like one album. Dropped as two different albums because every rapper felt like they had to do a double disc to keep up with Tupac and Biggie.
Double disc? Yeah.
So Nas and Jay-Z both did their double disc thing, whatever. But he was like under some weird contract shit too. Nas was falling off. Everybody knows it. Jay-Z revived Nas's career, but Ether was that.
Would Jay-Z be as big if Biggie didn't die?
I think Jay-Z still would have been big, but he wouldn't have been the Jay-Z that we know today. I believe that.
Is Tupac overrated?
I think Tupac is simultaneously overrated and underrated.
Tell me the significance of 50 Cent's run in your life.
Oh my God. I had a fucking, I don't know if you remember this picture.
You had a fucking shirt.
I had a T-shirt with a bulletproof
vest. He had a T-shirt with a goddamn fake bulletproof vest on it. It wasn't even bulletproof. If he got shot, he would have died instantly. How you gonna walk around with a fake bulletproof vest?
High school, 10th, 11th grade, me and James in a photo together. Me in this white 50 Cent bulletproof vest T-shirt. White shirt with a black bulletproof vest.
Name the top 3 mixtapes in the mixtape era.
That's insane. I'll say for me personally, one of them was Bootleg, Lloyd Banks versus Cassidy. Just barred up rappers, fucking mixtape DJs just taking a bunch of their loose freestyles, putting them track for track next to each other, unofficial battle, so to speak, of just who got the most bars, and we all won because both of them had hella bars. I'm not gonna name the next two. No, that's not fair.
No, you have to. Sorry.
Drought 3 was huge for me. Wayne Drought 3, that was like, to this day, I'll still run that mixtape on like livemixtapes.com's app or whatever, like YouTube. Like, to this day, like, Wayne on all these other people's beats at the time when rap was like getting a facelift, and we were getting all the like ringtone, jingle, fucking dance rap stuff, which there's a place for that. But like Wayne, doesn't matter whose beat, what kind of hip hop or rap music it was, I'm gonna slide on this beat. We're gonna forget it was your song, it's my song now, and barring the fuck up. And I'm like, you remember me back then, like high as fuck with my friends, just like, all I did was like get high and listen to Wayne and go to community college or whatever the case may be. And then if I had to pick a third one, and this is off the dome, I'll retract this later probably. Third mixtape, that's a hard fucking question. I value this question, sir. I will just say, just because the first thing that comes to mind is Nas's, you can bleep this out, the Nigga Tape mixtape, because it was right before he dropped the N-Word album that then became like Untitled.
Hip Hop is Dead?
Like, it was right after Hip Hop is Dead, which was like a fine album, but like I think Untitled to me was like Nas's last great album for me as like a Nas fan growing up. So a lot of my attachment to Nas to this day is just like nostalgia, but like that Untitled album that was supposed to be called the album that they changed it for obvious reasons.
For obvious.
The mixtape leading up to that was like anticipation for that. DJ Green Lantern, like it's the same thing I'm talking about where it felt like Nas was like kind of sticking around, and like even though he didn't have the longevity that Jay-Z still has to this day, he was still at the top of his game.
Old Kanye, new Kanye.
Ooh, old Kanye. And I defended Kanye till like 2018.
Till the Trump era.
Yeah, till 17, 18, but he was still at least releasing music that, like, it was like spotty, but I could still fuck with a lot of Kanye stuff. These last few albums, honestly, is hard. So
Kanye rapping's tough. Production though, music's always,
for the most part, off the grid, that production is insane. There was songs off the original Donda that I feel like, and Donda, if Donda 2, that Donda 2 that existed as I went to the IMAX to watch the whole Donda 2 experience. Like, Donda 2 is the great unreleased Kanye mixtape that I have on the stem player.
It's on the stem.
I have that shit.
Where's my stem player?
That's the end of Kanye.
Where the fuck is my stem player?
It's at home somewhere.
I gotta find that. That's cool though that my Kanye album lives on a stem player.
Yeah. What about you?
What?
Old Kanye or new Kanye?
Middle transition.
Middle of the way Kanye.
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy to Life of Pablo, and then Yay, I start going, oh.
Can See Ghost.
Once he goes to Wyoming, I don't know where he.
Can See Ghost.
Yeah, no, still, yes. Yes, but thankfully Cudi.
Yeah, that's a Cudi
held
album with
that's
Kanye involved
Cudi.
to me.
Yeah. Middle of the road Kanye transitioning over. Even some of the gospel that are like Sunday service stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, and then we start to go a little bit, and I just start going.
Follow
like,
God is like that production.
Yeah,
I think Yandi, which pretty much like songs from that.
Yeah.
Whole, Jesus is King era was like secular. The secular version of a lot of those songs on Jesus is King are way more fire to me.
Drake or Kendrick?
Kendrick. And it's fun to be like a Drake hater right now, but I gotta say I've been listening to both those dudes for the same Drake a little bit longer. Like Dre and them put me on to Drake and like end of 07, early 08.
Comeback season,
and then I went back and shit, and then everything since then. And Dre again put me on to Kendrick when Look Out for Detox came out, or whatever. So like, let's call it like end of 09. So relatively about the same amount of time. But yeah, Team Kendrick. I identify more with Kendrick as a human.
I'm
as
Team
artist.
Drake. Drake has created the soundtrack for our lives for 15 years, and we try to act like just because he lost a rap battle twice that he didn't. But to be honest, Kendrick has not done enough for my lifestyle as much as. But
I gotta go.
but Kendrick. That's also Kendrick's point is that when the party's over,
Watch the party die.
When the party dies.
Gotta watch the party die.
What is there?
Should have worn my black forces. These aren't even my forces. These are your forces.
That's too much. So okay. Next question. Greatest live music experience you've been a part of?
Been a part of it that I've gone
that you've gone to, been a part. This
Tame Impala at the Hollywood Bowl is the most significant, I gotta say. Yeah. I'll just go with that. Tame Impala at the Hollywood Bowl.
I'm gonna go. Mine's is Life of Pablo, floating stage above my head. I have an Adidas NMDs on. The floors, we're mosh pitting. The floor is so wet. I had to take my shoes off. Father Stretch My Hand comes on. And when the Panda beat drops, I throw my shoes in the air.
And then you went home barefoot.
I went home barefoot.
That's insane. It's crazy. That's wild. And then I feel bad because like somebody probably found one. It was like maybe I'll find
I'll find another one. Stick around long enough. No.
That's crazy.
I don't know where those NMDs are. Gone. All right, cool.
Runner up. Yeezus tour. Madison Square Garden.
Oh, fucking peak at the end.
You went to Yeezus
Snow
too, right?
Falling, yeah. Yeezus. I would say Travis.
Can't Tell Me Nothing live?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, I went to Astroworld.
Not even Astroworld. Second Rolling Loud in Wynwood.
Okay.
I dap up Travis Scott as he's crowd surfing.
There it is.
Rodeo's only out.
Yeah, I went to the rodeo shit. The rodeo tour that him and Metro Boomin and Young Thug did. Yeah. That era is unmatched.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Cause I went to the Astroworld, but I'm in fucking nosebleeds, like seeing the kids go crazy, and I'm like, back in my days, I used to do that, like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
that's how it was for me with Astroworld too, versus like the rodeo tour where I was like in the pit. Yeah, same but different.
But did you die?
I survived.
Survived the rodeo.
I got a limited edition poster from him, Metro Boomin, and Young Thug doing that tour, and that poster is like sweated and tore up, and then I framed it, so it's like this damaged poster that made it through that fucking show somehow.
Coolest, creative, / actor, celebrity, music artist you've worked with?
Like worked with in general, or
Yeah,
worked with like
in general.
dynamically. And I think doing the pop out, the Kendrick pop out show.
Wop, 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 wop. Nah, fuck him up. Wop. You were the fourth wop.
I cannot confirm or deny if I was the
down.
fourth wop.
You are the fourth wop. Pop out tour. It's the victory lap dance, crip walk on Drake's grave. Couple weeks or so after Not Like Us comes out, it's official. Drake's dead.
Juneteenth.
The witch is dead. The witch is dead. He goes to not Compton. He goes
Inglewood,
to Inglewood.
the Forum.
The Forum. He comes out. He brings up fucking Russell Westbrook. LeBron's there. I mean, everyone's there. He performs Not Like Us how many times?
5 or 6, I forget.
You're with your guy, video team.
Yeah, we did the Kendrick.
They
did the Kendrick Big Steppers tour. I did the music festival tour.
You did the music festival tour. You go to where? Ghana, blah, 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 Austin, Texas. You go to a bunch of these places. You end up doing you getting booked for the pop-out tour, pop-out show. Blah, blah, blah. He performs Not Like Us. All of a sudden, he goes to wop, 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 wop. And you, like, break down that.
You guys saw it before I did. My director, my technical director, Damien, was cutting the show live. Sometimes he's calling out to us which camera he's coming to or what's happening. We can check the return feed to see what's happening, but if we're in the middle of a shot, we're doing our shot, and if we know that Damien is on us. So I didn't know that he was cutting the wop, wop, wop like that till after. You guys saw it before me. I'm just doing my job.
He said, like, everyone be ready. I'm go, because like.
No, he didn't tell her. He didn't tell anybody he was going to do that. In fact, he was like, he told me after the fact, I don't want to say, I don't know how much is okay to say or not, but he didn't tell anybody he was going to do that. He was just, he feels the music, he knows the show, he decides in real time what's going to like be.
You got to know you got to know the song.
And he knows the song. So he cuts that live, not knowing if our director, and creative director, Mike Carson, and I think it was just him on this one and not Dave Freed co-directing. But Mike Carson was with him, and he was like, I don't know if Mike is gonna fuck with this or not, but I'm gonna go for it, and it worked. But like he didn't say, hey, for that part of the song, for the wop wop wops, I'm gonna cut to all of y'all to the beat. He just did it.
Bro.
That's all.
Even though I'm still Team Drake.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What your deal is.
That was legendary, bro. And I've never seen even a direction of a live concert be that big. I mean, that went viral. Like, there were memes like, this forever lives in my head, rent free. Wop, 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 wop. Yeah. that was like a thing, bro. Like, so the fact that my big bro was a part of that was so fucking cool. You're part of like history. We talked about Nas and Jay-Z, and like you go back and watch those YouTube videos of the battle, but this is I think the biggest rap battle. So, well, last question.
Yeah.
Last question. I need 1 or 2 or however many pieces of Big Brother advice for me. You look from your vantage point, you see where I am, where I've been, maybe you see where I could go. What's your advice to me?
Keep going.
Yeah.
Sounds like an oversimplification, but I think even sometimes when I'm just inspired to tell you sometimes that like I see you and I like I admire you, bro, you know, and I think I know that sometimes maybe it feels like shit is like a lot, you know, as a father, as a husband, as a business owner, like all the things, like now you have hella people working with you and a lot of responsibility, and I think I just imagine a lot of pressure, and I think for me it's just like, just keep going, bro, like.
Yeah. You said it, pressure. I told Yaz the other day, I was like, you don't understand how much pressure that I feel.
Yeah, sometimes it's not even necessarily real or nobody's imposing it on you, but you just there, yeah.
Weight of the world.
I can only
and
imagine.
At the end of the day, if I don't make it, everyone's gonna figure out their own shit. But there are days where I go, if I don't make this shit happen, this, and name the next 100 things don't happen. And maybe that's a hero complex. Maybe that I got to talk about it in therapy.
And catastrophic things.
Yeah, that's catastrophic. But on a Monday morning,
Not even had your first cup of coffee yet.
I'm thinking about that.
What about you to me, man? I humble myself. Like, what's your advice to me?
Clean your Air Forces.
These are your Air Forces.
Damn it.
Clean your Air Forces.
Shit. God damn it. I would say it'd be a hope. And I hope you view your decisions of your life as bravery and not anything negative. I hope you view every single move, investment, job taken, New York, Savannah. I hope you view yourself as a brave person and not any of the negative cognitive dissonance that you may tell yourself, like I'm behind or I'm not here, I'm not there, I'm not. Like I hope you view it as bravery, because I view it as bravery. Sometimes I vicariously live through what you're doing, and I go, fuck, because I see where you come from and where you are, and I see where I come from, where I am, and we go, oh shit, Dad, you got 2 kids and a wife, and you just, and I go, wow, you're just fucking going. You're chasing that shit. You're on tour with Childish. You're pop out. You're Doja Cat. And you take those brave steps. I just want you to know that if you ever doubt yourself, your intention, your outcome, your process, just know, put it all under the umbrella of bravery. You're brave.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah. Love you.
Love you too, man.
Maybe we'll do this again in another
7 years.
7 years. Be like, back in my days, man, be OG shit. This might be an OG.
Triple OG.
Next topic will be with some goddamn cognac and a cigar.
Oh man, we gotta do an outdoor one. So
You do our one, yeah. But
back outside, boys.
love you, bro.
Love
Thanks
you too,
for having
man.
this convo.
Thank you so much, man.
Love you, man.
Love you too, bro.
Thank you for watching.
Peace.
Peace.